So I started working on a Bougainvillea in 2007. It was a gift from a friend in Bradenton, Florida, named Bob, and he called me up one day. He had a 65-year-old Bougainvillea and thought I could maybe do something nice with it. When I got it, it was kind of a tangled mess. But over the years, I developed it into a bonsai, and actually it was displayed in Epcot in 2009. Here's a photo of it, looking pretty spectacular, full bloom, and that was probably April of 2009. So 5 years ago at this point. Then it was shown in 2012 at the Bonsai Societies of Florida convention. Here's a photo of it there. Again, a full canopy, totally flowered out, looking really spectacular. And later that year, it was shown at a national exhibit. And here's a picture of it in the book as it was displayed during that show. I was very proud of it, but when I got it home, I found that the tree was starting to decline because it's a soft wood. And here it is now. And I'm almost back to the very beginning. So I'm going to kind of show you what happens to trees sometimes. There is no such thing as a finished bonsai, and there's times when you have to redo them and restyle them, and take what the tree gives you and make the best bonsai you can. So I'm going to try and recover this thing and probably change the style quite a bit because I had quite a bit of dieback, and the interior of the trunk is rotted out because it's a soft wood, and it just happens with Bougainvillea. So stay tuned, and we'll go through the whole process of getting this back into a bonsai. So it's probably easy if I just kind of get you in close and see exactly what's going on with this tree. What we're looking at right now is the back of the tree. The front of it really hasn't hollowed out, but it has from the back, which caused me to lose a whole right side of my tree, or my first main branch. I still have a little bit of growth, so we're going to try and recover what we can from that, but there's going to be a lot of carving and cleaning this thing out. So let me move some of the branches away. For those of you who don't know Bougainvillea, it is a vine, but I just want to point this out. It does have long, sharp spikes that grow on the new growth. Once you cut these off, they don't come back on that growth, but you kind of have to trim these as you're working through, or this thing will just shred you to pieces. So let me just move this out of the way, and let's get closer into the trunk, and you can see what's going on. There's a lot of rot away, and I mean it's completely hollowed out. This is actually very soft in here, and what I'll do is I'll go in and clean this completely out until I get to some hard wood. And at that point, what we do is we put some wood hardener on there, and actually a friend of mine had mentioned that he puts a water sealant on it to kind of help the water penetration to be declined, so it doesn't actually get very wet. It'll actually stay a lot drier that way. Look, a Bougainvillea is going to rot out. That's just what they do. It's just a matter of how long you can delay it, because they just don't heal over the cuts very well. It's too soft a wood, and when the water gets in there, it just eats it, eats it alive. But it does give good character. So what we do is we're just going to keep this tree, styled and looking good. As long as I have it, and maybe one day it might just fail on me, but in the meantime, I want this tree to look great. I've got a lot of long, new, leggy growth, and I really need some lower branches, so that's why we're working on it now. It's not really the flower. The flower is a small little yellow part, but the leaves, we call bracts, they are actually a discolored leaf, or just a modified leaf, but it's really not the flower. The flower is just that small little bit right there. So normally when I work on these, I let the flowers develop and bloom and stay, because they look fantastic, but I really got to get this tree cut back so I get some more light and get some branch selection done, because right now it's just I'm losing time on this tree because I'm not keeping on top of it. But I think I've got enough branches here to work with and get this styled in. It's going to be a totally different look than what it used to be. It used to have a large big canopy. I want to keep this one close and really showcase that trunk. So let me get this onto a stand where I can work on it, and we'll go right to it. So let's just start cutting back a little bit. Again, I'm just going to reduce the length of these things because I don't need really long branches at this point. Like I said, I want to get this back to a close-in bonsai. So let's see. I wish I didn't have to take all the flowers off because it's such a nice color right now, but I should still get some good color this summer, so it's not the end of the world. And there's a lot of people that wouldn't share, what happens to a bonsai like this. It's especially when you've shown it, it's been around, and people recognize it. But I gotta always show you the things that happen to trees, because there's times when you have failures in bonsai, And if people try and hide that and don't show you, mistakes they've made or things like that, you're going to think that you're doing something wrong. And if you're not making mistakes, you're not pushing yourself, you're not pushing the tree. You've really got to do what you can to make the best out of the material. So that's why I'm showing this bonsai tree, and I really want to show you how I can transform it back into a very nice bonsai. And using the same material to design it completely different than it used to be, and that's kind of exciting. Let's see if I can find an example of new leaves as they're coming out look like this. You can always tell when your new growth is going to be a flower. New growth will usually come in as just green, but when it's going to flower, it comes in small and it's already looking red at that point, and it just turns into the great flower that it is. So much color. These come in a variety of colors. I've seen them in orange and purple, and of course the red I think is the most common one. But they all have just so much power, so many flowers, and it really just it makes such a great presentation as well. Really nice addition. Of course, it's a tropical. Doesn't tolerate being below 32 degrees, and I kind of protect them under 42. It's pretty much the limit where I put these before I start protecting them in the wintertime. I'm still going to have some color on here. I'm not completely taking all the flowers off, so I'm pretty happy about that. And all I'm doing right now, I'm not really paying attention to the shape of the tree. I'm just kind of getting the branches back to a length that's actually, I'm able to work on these. This branch starts all the way on the other side on the top and was hanging down here. So you really have to sort through the branches. It's almost like a bowl of spaghetti when you get these things originally, because they are a vine. So trying to make heads or tails of where the branching actually are is part of the challenge. But once you get it worked out and get it organized, you'll get a very quick development on a bougainvillea. They're very they break back easy. They give you a lot of branching to deal with. They stay pretty flexible when they're maybe up to about a 1/4 inch. Then they start to harden off, and they do become kind of stiff. Easy to propagate. I mean, you put these cuttings into soil, and you'll get new plants to work with. So, and they can do them up to large chunk sizes. Just put them in soil, and they'll grow for you. So, okay, I'm going to stop right there as far as cleaning this out. Let's take a look at what we've got here as far as this rot and how much mass to take off. Because this really does add a lot of character, but I've got just so much just rotted material right here. I'll most likely get a saw out and just trim this back, and then let's go put some wood hardener. We use Minwax wood hardener. It does exactly that, so it just slows the process down of it rotting. And the better you keep these cleaned out, the better. So I'm going to get a little root pick root prick, and just clean this thing out, just to get rid of all the soft material. And I'll bring the camera in to show you what I'm doing. So here we are, and a lot of this, like I said, is really dead. I could probably just pull this whole chunk off, but I want to be careful because I do want to give the tree a little bit of protection for what is alive, and I don't want to just damage everything to make it completely soft and let water in where it right now is protected from that. So I'm just going to take a chopstick and to figure out exactly where the softest part is, and you can see that just the decay that's occurring in here, very soft, but you get some that's a little bit firm. So if we can clean out that portion, it's going to help the tree. And just get that rot material out of there. The nice thing about getting that out, which would hold moisture normally, is now it's going to dry out quicker, which means it's not going to sit in moisture, and the moisture is what's actually rotting out the trunk. But there's large sections that will just come right out. I've got weeds in there, they're growing, so we can get those out of there, because that's just going to make the situation worse. And you can see it's large chunks that come out, but then you finally hit some hardwood, and that's what we want to get down to. It's pretty easy to sort with through this. Now, I see one area that I could probably dispose of right now. I've got a lot of visual mass up here, and a lot of it is just decaying wood. It doesn't really add to the look of the tree. It's not very pretty. So I'm going to just start with a saw and see what we can get rid of. Because here's what my issue is on this side. You can see that used to be a branch over here, and actually a lot of it was hidden before. The branch would just come out here, and it actually went from this large mass to this nice little pad that was right here, and then the second canopy came in, and we had no space in between. But now the only thing that's alive is this bit of it. So if I were to take a lot of this off right here and cut back to there, this large mass is no longer there. I don't need that visual chunk, but I don't want to make it look like it's just a sawed off piece. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a little bit of this off, leave a little bit of the decayed, but then what I can do is I can start building this pad right here, get a nice, flowering section right in this section, bring it in close and tight, and then start a second pad right up here with the flowers that are occurring up on the top right corner. So that will be right in here, which will be a nice little place to start the second part. I really want to change the look of this tree to develop better branching. Before I was showing off the flowers more, and I want to show more branching and have the flowers accent that whole look. So that's what we're going for. It's a good opportunity since I have to restyle the tree. Let's really change it up and make it something special. So, and you can see from that angle just how much mass is there and how much I really don't need. So we'll see what we can take off. Probably a lot of this bit right here, maybe all the way back to here, and a lot of that scar is going to be hidden from the front. But I don't want to disturb anything that's going to make it worse for me going forward. This is really rotten pretty bad back here. And again, this is your call. I mean, if you want to leave it, that would be fine. But I'm going to start with a little bit at first and see what we can work our way back to. I'm trying to find a place that looks natural for a break to occur, or an indentation to occur. You can't really do it right in the middle of everything, and you don't want to put it where the cut's going to show in the front. And what I'm trying not to do is hit this branch that's coming out of it, so I'm just going to move this on top of the blade so that I don't cut through it. Sorry if it blocks the view for you though. There we go. And I mean, this is so soft, it can just crumble in your hands. So, and I don't think we need this little section right here, but let's take a look. And again, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, because who knows, one day this might be the front of the tree, showing off this scar, and even now this might be the front of the tree. So depends on how nice the cut comes out. So I might leave a little bit of this. I kind of like this piece right here coming out. Maybe I'll take off that point, and we can grind this down a little bit. And if I could just clean this up, there's a good opportunity for this to be the front of the tree. I mean, there's so much more character. Why would I hide a lot of that? Even though I did make that cut, I think it was going to be the back. A little bit of wood hardener on here, and a little bit of taking your concave cutters. You can take off that sharpness, and this is going to actually darken up in short order as the weather gets to it. So we can actually hide this and make it look like it's not such a drastic flat cut. And I'm actually kind of liking this. And if you notice the way the foliage is coming around, that's going to actually hide this a little bit too. So let's look at it this way. Clean that out a little bit. I mean, if I were to bring this branch up and to the front, we have a good opportunity to do actually a nice little pad right there. So let's play around with it, see what we can do. I'm not sure how strong that branch is right there, but there's a lot of decay happening, so might have to bring this branch down instead. But got to work with what we have. So going to continue to work it through and continue to work out that. What I most like to do when I'm completely done is get a very strong stream of water, garden hose, and just wash this out, because it's going to rinse out pretty well. Once it dries, then that's when I'll go back in with the wood hardener and seal it up. Something that we can use a little bit of lime sulfur possibly, just to keep the pest out. But really this thing is, keeping the water out is probably the most key thing, is just keeping this area dry so that it doesn't continue to get worse. I mean, what's going to happen is it's just the cambium, which is just this section right here, will continue to harden off, and as long as that part's, you know, pretty much just a shell, the tree will still remain healthy. And talk about some, you know, characteristics that make something look extremely old. You can't get better than a hollowed out trunk, especially when it's a natural hollowed out trunk. And you can see this whole right side's rotting away just because there's no growth coming up through it. So, number one is to really get this plant dried out. And pest control and everything else. Gotta make sure that this tree is staying dry and that nothing's starting to eat at it. I do have a branch coming off this side. Don't really need it, but you know, I'll take any branch that grows on this tree at this point. Maybe we can do a very low, very short, you know, pad right in here, just to bring it all the way down to the ground, because it's nice to have flowers and then a break and then more flowers. So doing on several levels like that could really be something spectacular. So one thing that I did notice when I stepped back, this branch is actually very weak and it's about to break off. And I do have two strong branches above it, so I'm just going to remove this and then figure out what we're going to do going forward, because this branch is just not going to make it. Unfortunate, but like I said, I've got a very good place you know, for this branch. It's coming off the top. This will branch off and I'll be able to turn this into a nice little pad over here and actually bring this thing down to a nice little level where we want it to be anyway. Bring it forward. It really opens this section up. This is so flexible in here. You know, is this going to make it? I'm not sure. But one thing I could probably do is move this if I needed to, and I think I know exactly what I want to do with it. What if we move this right in here, go right through that groove, and all of a sudden I have the branch exactly where I want it. That will work. Gotta love a bougainvillea. Okay, so there we go. Nice solution. The tree just gave me exactly what I needed, and it really secured that section for me. Just got really lucky right there, which is fantastic. So let me wire this out, and then we'll start moving up the tree a little bit. Nothing more exciting than watching somebody else wire a tree. I'll tell you, that's like watching paint dry, but you can always fast forward if you don't want to watch this part, but it's always good. I'm going to try and see if I can anchor it in here, because I really don't have another branch to tie it to. But if we go down the trunk, maybe I can hit something solid. And give it a twist or two in there and we should be good to go. I'm just trying to loop it around that main trunk, just to give myself an anchor point. Once around and then just around that little root, and I think that's going to be enough to secure it. Don't need a whole lot to secure this kind of plant material when it's this thin. It's pretty flexible stuff. Like I said, it is a vine, so it's kind of got like a little bit of a whip action to it, but don't bend too far because this stuff will snap, especially when it gets a little bit thicker and gets that woody bark going. Don't forget to trim those needles, which I'm not at this point, but I will come back after the fact, because they are just nasty. They just really will hurt you. And wire cuts in pretty easily on a bougainvillea, so you really got to keep an eye on it. I'm kind of actually wiring this a little bit loose just to give it a little bit of room to grow, because I don't need a whole lot of movement. You know, just a little bit of back and forth, which should be pretty easy to get, and really just to hold it in place. I'm not going to take it all the way to the tip either, or maybe I will. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so back in the groove, however I had it in there. Nice. Go forward, a little bit backwards, and we'll give it a nice little movement to the front, because really we really want this pad to fill in right here. We'll get some shoots to come in here, and let's see if I can get an old piece right here, give you an idea of what we're looking for. And the thing about the flowers will fix everything. But what we're looking to do, eventually it's going to look like this. Probably a little bit closer to the trunk, but we'll probably get a branch to go in right there, maybe right in here, which we can bend over this way a little bit, maybe one right in here, and probably one back here. Just have a nice little pad. This pad, I only really want it about that long. I just want it to be a much more condensed tree this time. The last time I had a huge canopy, it was probably 4 feet, which is nice for what I was trying to do at that point. But I really want it to be a different look this time. So, and again, we're gonna have some nice flowering in here, so we want a little bit of separation. So we'll do the second pad right here, which is gonna go back here, give us nice depth, and then take this one back here, which is just gonna fill in this little negative space right here in the middle. And then we'll work that left side. Like I said, don't know if I want to keep this, but you know what? It's giving it to me, so let's see what it looks like. You know, sometimes those trees will surprise you and give you something that you didn't expect, and you just got to be wise enough to, you know, if the tree's giving you something, to appreciate it and, you know, use it. I mean, if it's going to be something that's really spectacular that, you know, you didn't even plan on, but somehow the tree said, you know what, this is supposed to be a branch here. Well, sometimes those trees know what the heck they're doing, and they know how to get the sun the best. And you know, one of the things I always say, if you don't know the horticulture of a plant and you just know the art portion, you're going to have a lot of very pretty dead plants. But also, if you focus too much on the horticulture and not the art of it, you're going to have a lot of very ugly, healthy plants. So you got to get the balance when you do bonsai. And again, not super tight on this, just want to get the basic structure today. The way to get this branches to develop is let them grow out, cut them back, it thickens them up, let it grow out again, let it, you know, cut back. So every time I cut this back, I'm going to do more and more detailed work on it until I get this tree refined to where I really want it to be. You know, make it book quality once again, and really make it something special. There's no doubt that this tree will be displayed again at a convention or a bonsai exhibit somewhere. You know, it's great material, and you can't go wrong when you have a massive trunk like this. It just, you know, it just shows age, and it just shows just a fantastic, you know, tree. So this is the kind of stuff you dream about. This is the kind of stuff that you really like in your collection. So there we go. We actually turned that corner, which was just a mass of just rotted material, into something that's actually has branches where we want it. It's got a lot of options, and going to be something pretty special right there. I'm going to bring this down, really accentuate the heaviness of this branch. And plus, when you show flowers, unlike like a black pine, you want to show the structure. So that's why the branches always go up. But when you show something with flowers, you want to open it so that the flowers actually fill the vision. So you get a branch like this instead of something like that. You know, you want to show those flowers open. So that's why we're going to bend it down like that, so that when they do open, you've got a wide open pad instead of a crumpled up like that. Much more, you know, nice presentation that way. And that goes for azaleas and all the other flowering plants or flowering trees. Just want to show you with this side. Always an option to turn this back as the front. I mean, there's just a good opportunity to take off a lot of mass. Again, there's no scar showing at all from that side. But what we do lose is that hollowed out trunk. You know, this could go either way for me right here. I could still develop this whole tree again from that side. So we're just gonna play it by ear. Whatever turns out to be the better side. Either one shows the trunk, you know, great width from the front, still some nice nabari showing, a real strong tree. So it's given me a lot of opportunities. I most likely will go through and just break this down, figure out where my softest parts are, and I'll probably put a little bit of lime sulfur on this, because that is just completely rotted out right there. I'll get that bark off it, get that moisture off of it, and then put some nice hardener on there so it doesn't rot out as fast. You know, we want this tree to be around for quite a while, so do what we can to lengthen its life. So here we are. Now we've got, we're going to go further up the tree, and what we're going to do is we're just going to start testing the wood up here to see if, you know, just how soft it is. It seems to be getting a little bit more firm up here, and you can see where I had a little bit of cut paste to prevent the water intrusion in the past. We can kind of remove that. But I mean, this stuff lasted 7 years, so it's hard to complain about it. And just kind of, it's just a matter of really slowing the decay down. There's no way to really prevent it, but the best you can do is just keep it dry. Bougainvilleas, we usually just water the roots. We try not to water the foliage, just to keep the water level down. But when we get into rainy season in Florida, it's hard to keep it dry. You know, the best thing I'm going to be able to do, even though I'm trying to keep it dry, is get in here with a hard, you know, blast with a garden hose and just rinse all of this soft material away, just to get down to the hard wood, because if the hardwood's exposed, it will be able to keep drier better. So that's what we're going to do, is keep the air on it so that it doesn't sit in moisture, which is going to cause it to rot a lot quicker. So just going to clean it out as best I can. And also what I'm going to do is start removing some branches just to bring them in. The way we grow these bougainvilleas for the most part is let the branches grow way out. It thickens them up, then cut them way back and let them grow out again. And every time you cut back, it's going to give you more ramification on the branch, and also give you thicker branching. Because if you keep cutting it back, it's never really going to thicken up. You got to let it grow out. So that's why this thing was so hairy. I knew it was just had to get healthy. But I do need to get more light in here because I need to get a little bit more branching. But when I do cut this back, what the strategy is don't take it completely back. I take it back to 1 or 2 leaves, generally back to 2 leaves. I mean, I've got like an 18-inch branch right there. No need to have the whole thing. But what I'll do is, if this was the trunk, I would cut it back to the second set of leaves. I still have second or third set. If I cut it back to here, I still have a lot of options. Don't need all that, but if I lose a leaf, not a big deal. I still have branching that's going to occur off of this, and it at least shows me the direction the tree's going to go, and it's going to be easier to get through this tangled mess of just like a spaghetti bowl. If I can't see what's in here and see everything that's crossing over, I need to get the basic structure. Then when it grows out again, cut it back, and each time I cut it back, I'm going to get better defined branching and better structure of the tree. But I gotta get it cut in close, because I really want this canopy to be a tight one compared to what it's been in the past. I don't want it to be quite as, it was probably 4 feet across before, so I really want this in a lot closer now. So that's what I'm going to continue to do as we work through the tree, and then hopefully get some nice branch selections as we go. There's a lot of branches that are crossing over others, so they just need to go. Like this branch, this branch for example, let's see, this branch right here starts all the way back here. Shouldn't be coming across the front of the tree, so let's take that one quite a bit. And it's starting to come a little bit closer now. It's a lot of the foliage was so far out. And so this is from an interior branch, which is nice, but rotted the wrong direction. So if we can't really use it, I'll take the space in between, and actually might take this back to that branch depending where it's going. These really heavy ones that start on the other side and just lopping over the top don't benefit the tree at this point, so got to get it cleaned up. My gosh, there's a tree in here after all. Who'd have thought? Okay, so here's pretty much the results of the efforts for today. I'm pretty happy with it. I definitely think this is going to be the front of the tree. Just so much more exposed in there. I was able to hose it out with a real strong pressure hose and clean that pretty good. I'll let it dry this week, and then next weekend I'll go ahead and seal it up. But I think my branch selection's good. It's now opened up a lot more, which means I'm going to get a lot more pads filling in, and I can start to reduce the leaves and actually develop this into a really very nice bonsai again. Thanks very much for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me, send me a comment. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.